If you were transported into the beginning of A Quiet Place's monster invasion with nothing but your lack of survival skills, your empty supplies cabinet, and the leftover food in your fridge, could you not just survive, but fight back and win? In this video on Nerd Explains, I'll tell you how to kill the monsters from A Quiet Place. Know thy enemy. What's the skinny on these monsters? I've read the wiki, but some of that's a bit bullshit. They are aliens that hitched a ride on an asteroid that landed on Earth. The most important piece of intel is that they are blind-ish and hunt by sound primarily. Though their hearing is obscenely good, they seem to get confused by sounds easily. They can't see, but they can use echolocation to maneuver their environment and locate prey. In the movie, it's depicted as a really rough form of echolocation as they can't actually see very well, but in real life, if they had the echolocation abilities of a bat, they could see you walking around outside and just murder you. They have armor that's supposedly impenetrable, but that's most likely just for small arms fire. They can seemingly survive the vacuum of space and don't need oxygen. And we never see the monsters feed, but they have to sustain themselves, so let's just assume that they do eat off screen. They have teeth and a mouth after all. These monsters also have superhuman speed, strength, and really sharp claws that can rip through armor like butter. What happened to our military? A lot of people wonder why the military failed to kill these monsters. These things came down on an asteroid, most likely more than one asteroid, which means they probably landed all over the world in lots of cities for all we know. With the speed, durability, and stealth of these monsters, they'd be able to spread out all over the nation very quickly. Guerrilla warfare is historically super effective. This means we would not be able to fight them on a front, nor would we be able to create supply lines. It's hard to get choppers off the ground when these creatures could shred them on the landing pad. And even if we could, they'd be hard to detect, and most likely would be in close proximity to innocent civilians. We can't exactly drop a Hellfire missile into the local grocery store parking lot, or open up the 20mm cannon on the monsters while they're shredding wage slaves that are stuck in rush hour traffic. We don't know how many of these things there are, and with how quickly they attacked, we wouldn't be able to organize a defense strategy that factored in all their potential weaknesses. They might hide from extremely loud noises, say tanks or massed groups of soldiers, and attack only in isolated pockets, or slip past them to get to civilian populations. Even if the military was able to kill a ton, it wasn't enough. But what if we guerrilla warfare them back like we did with the British? Well, the British wore red uniforms for camouflage and walked down city streets singing and pounding on drums in formation whilst being picked off by farmers like Mel Gibson. These are ninja space aliens that might even pose a challenge to Riddick. Just kidding.
Did not know who was fucking with.
And guerrilla warfare only really works if you are the minority and can hide amongst the population. So our military is defeated. Pockets of resistance are all that's left, and you are now solely responsible for your own survival. What precautions do you need to take when hunting these monsters? The first rule of A Quiet Place is to not talk about A Quiet Place. All the standard library rules apply. The second rule is to not get pregnant or have kids. If you already broke the second rule, fear not, you can sacrifice them as bait or diversions before they get you killed by playing with the Turbo Man they found in a store. The third rule is to always have a pocket full of lures, things like fireworks or rocks. That way, if you get snapped up by a monster, you can create a diversion so you can run away. Luckily, the monsters have a low IQ, and if they are inches from killing you and they hear a kid pop a bottle rocket off in the distance, they'll completely forget about you. Getting the tools of the trade. Here's a pro tip. Don't worry about getting food or supplies when shit's going down. Lay low for a month or so. Your fat stores will sustain you for a while. Most people don't watch videos like this. They suck, they panic, they'll get killed. Once your neighbors all got themselves killed, you can raid their houses. And since these aliens don't eat everything they kill, there should be plenty of dead wildlife around to throw on the grill. or human meat if that's what you're into. If you kill one of these creatures, you could probably eat their meat as well, though they do look a bit emaciated, but who knows? There's probably a lot of lean protein under that exoskeleton. So now that the military is defeated, your neighbors are all dead, and things have gotten really quiet. You generally know what the aliens' weaknesses are, and supplies are bountiful around town. It's time to put that monster meat back on the menu.
Looks like meat's back on the menu.
Right before we jump in though, if you find these types of videos entertaining, consider clicking the like and subscribe buttons, as it really does help me to make more. Firearms. We gotta acquire some military firearms. And before you say, oh, Nerd explains, but those make sounds and where are you gonna get them? This is a tiny brain move. Hold up. These monsters might be resistant to AR-15s, marksman rifles, and even Modus 50 cal machine guns when in turtle mode. But an AT-4 84mm unguided portable single-shot recoilless smoothbore weapon firing high-explosive anti-tank projectiles with 16.5 inches of armor penetration via a high-velocity jet stream of molten liquid metal that is traveling at 25,000 miles per hour. But their armor's impenetrable.
Eerie. They say it's impregnable.
As Bronn in Game of Thrones said it, give me a clear line of sight in an AT-4 and I'll penetrate the bitch. Something like that.
Oh, there you go!
As far as where to get it, National Guard armories might have them. If they do, then pop on a paramotor and fly over to that base. Yes, a paramotor. One of the most versatile methods of transportation in the apocalypse. It's a bit noisy to start up, so that's dangerous. But you can be in the air in seconds and you can turn the motor off before landing, so it's quiet. I could go on about paramotors, but just trust me on this. I wonder if you could fire a rocket launcher from a paramotor. Rocket launchers aside, these monsters do have a critical weakness to any small arms a civilian could obtain. And no, it's not a fucking hearing aid. See, these monsters stay turtled up when they hear loud noises, but when they get close and their prey gets quiet, they drop their shield exoskeleton so that they can tune in and listen more closely. That's when you hit them with the pump shotgun, right in the ear hole. The hearing aid high frequency thing isn't really necessary, but it is helpful. I'm kind of mad Sergeant Rita Vrataski and Jack Ryan couldn't figure this out earlier. Since these monsters attack individually and not like a pack of wolves, this makes things easier. Yes, they're fast, but realistically, you could use cameras to find isolated monsters. Then you place a radio or baby monitor, if you broke the second rule, in the middle of the field with a remote control to raise the volume until the isolated monster hears it. Then lower the volume until it's barely audible once they're close. When they get super close, turn the radio off. This method will draw the monster close, make them open their armor so that they can listen more closely to try to find what they think is hiding prey. And the last thing that they actually hear is the click of a trigger brake before a 338 Lapua enters their cranium, and since they are armored, that bullet enters but doesn't exit. It just ping-pongs around their insides, turning their guts to soup. If you broke the second rule we talked about earlier and your girl's pregnant or you have a newborn, maybe you don't want to be popping off rocket-propelled grenades and ripping off machine guns, or maybe you just don't want to draw every nearby monster to your position. What else can we use? Poison dart air guns, super quiet, and you're going to use the similar formula as the one above. As far as what poison to use, honestly just dip the dart in human shit. It's not like the monsters have healthcare insurance in hospitals. A shot into their exposed face would cause a nasty infection that they can't treat. Same goes for bow and arrows. These are accessible at your local sporting goods store, just like the air guns. They are quiet methods of creature killing. Since the monster you're attacking will no doubt hear the bow launching the arrow, you only have one shot to get it right, just like with firearms. But the benefit to bows is that you don't attract every monster in a 3-mile radius. Throwing knives. Yes, throwing knives. Again, you need to lure them in close. Then stay quiet. They'll open their armor. That's when you stick them. Okay, this is mainly for show-offs going for the kill of the year. It's obscenely dangerous, as you need to be within like 7 yards unless you're Jason Statham. It's unique in that it really makes no sound at all to throw a knife.
You missed one.
Oh yeah.
They couldn't actually pinpoint where the knife was thrown from. If you miss, they'll just attack the noise from where the knife landed instead of you. This is definitely for experts only. EWOK logs. If you can silently cut 2 trees down and string them up, then lure the monster in between those 2 tree logs, you can do the monsters like the EWOKs did the ATSTs. Don't use slingshots with rocks like they did. That would be suicide. Explosives. We already discussed how an AT-4 will splatter these space aliens, but C4 is also another tool, but not in the way you might think. The monster, when turtled up, could potentially survive a close proximity blast, but given that the monsters are always using their ears to hunt you, this presents another weakness we can exploit. Projectile weapons won't be able to get through the tiny cracks in their armor, but air can. Yes, air. The overpressure caused by an explosive blast will rupture any soft tissues. The ears are the first organs to feel the change in pressure. That's what they're designed for. Ears are meant to allow people to sense minute changes in air pressure. They're extremely sensitive to pressure, especially with these monsters. A wave of pressure that lasts less than 0.3 milliseconds will leave the eardrum no time to adjust to changes in pressure. It simply tears it. Basically, the monster might survive the blast, but their primary sensing organ for hunting you gets obliterated. And now that they are deaf, they can be killed much more easily. As far as how to get C4 that close to them, baiting is easy. Burt Gummer pioneered the RC car bomb in Tremors, and it seemed pretty effective. Napalm. I know that monsters are heat resistant and don't need oxygen for survival, but it's just easy to make and it's worth a shot. All you need is gasoline and packing peanuts. String up a bucket of homemade napalm above a door, Home Alone style, and once the monster comes through the door, the wire gets tripped, the napalm gets dumped on the monster, and a secondary torch lights the napalm. It's a Macaulay Culkin classic with a bit more of an edge to it. If the monster's ears are perked up as it walks through the door and that lit napalm gets under their armor, it could do some serious damage. To kick it up a notch, you can add homemade thermite to the mix. 4,000 degree liquid metal getting poured all over the monster would certainly fuck up its day. Electricity. Biological organisms and electricity don't really bode well when combined. Just ask Marv from Home Alone. Since these monsters do like to swim, once they take a dip in a body of water, go ahead and throw in the toaster or clothing iron. Or you could go high tech and fire up a generator that's hooked up to surrounding electrified fences. And once they try to get through the fence to attack the noisy generator, they'll be in for a shock. Industrial equipment, rock crushers and wood chippers. If you're creative enough to find a way to get one of these monsters into the mouth of a rock crusher, it's game over. Those jaws are insanely powerful, and even if one of these monsters takes a swing at it out of frustration at the noise, if that limb gets caught in the jaws or the chipper, there's just something about killing space aliens by repurposing industrial equipment. The environment. Zombieland 2 had a great scene where they funneled the zombies onto the rooftop of a tall building. Then Tallahassee leapt off the edge and grabbed a crane hook that dangled past the edge. All the zombies jumped after him, falling to their deaths. These monsters don't seem to be that smart, and it doesn't seem like their echolocation is very accurate. So this is probably worth a shot. This is why you watch movies. When the apocalypse hits, you have all these strategies in mind. The instructions are the same if you live near a volcano or a cliff. In conclusion, I think with a little ingenuity, some elbow grease, and a pile of plastic explosives, we could end this threat before we gave up like those pussies John and Emily. How would you kill the monsters in A Quiet Place? Do you agree with my selection? Why or why not? Let me know in the comments. And while you're at it, Let me know what other movies or games you want me to cover like this. Thanks for watching. Later.